What's up, homies? So I'm drawing a manga page today, and basically this is for a contest, and I will post a link to the contest in the description so you guys can check it out. Anyway, the premise of the concept, or the premise of the contest is basically dreams and nightmares. So I decided to go with nightmare because I thought it would be, I don't know, just fun. You get to draw kind of a darker theme, and I thought it'd be good practice for like facial expression and stuff, because I don't draw a lot of like, I don't know, like shocked or terrified facial expressions, or I haven't so far anyway. But anyway, I watched the video while I was at work, while I was on break, and I pretty much already had the idea of what I wanted to do. So I didn't really bother to sketch out a reference or anything like that for the page. I just went straight at it. And so up in the right hand corner you've got a character that I'm drawing out, and basically he's just kind of shocked. And I used some manga for reference, which I do a lot. Don't mistake me. I'm not condoning like freehanding or copying or anything like that. What I'm doing is basically looking at facial expressions the same way that someone would use a photograph or a mirror. It's just it's easier to draw an expression when you have some reference to go by. Which, just to be clear, the facial expression that I used is my own. I just needed reference for eyes, basically, because I've never drawn like a shocked expression like that before. So yeah, if you guys have problem with facial expression, I strongly suggest you guys either take pictures of yourself, or like use a mirror or a photograph or another manga for reference, and it'll help you a lot. But like I said, don't copy someone's style or anything like that. Just do your own thing. If you need reference, get reference, but don't copy people. It won't help you. And nobody wants to read, a manga where you're just cloning someone else's art, especially if you're not doing it as well. But anyway, that's besides the point. So basically, well, I guess it's not besides the point, but whatever. I don't know. I can't think straight. What time is it? It's 3:30 in the morning. So yeah, if I ramble or don't make sense, sorry. Basically, what I went for this comic is, like I said, the guy's shocked or whatever, and then he basically it pans out to show him basically on his bed floating above this pit, and so yeah, it's basically this giant cylindrical shaft. Kind of like a well or whatever, and I've drawn all these all those details or whatever on the background, and then I kind of went back over it with an eraser because it was too detailed and I didn't want it to detract from like what was in the foreground, which was the bed and the character. So I kind of erased a little bit, and then I'll end up scribbling in over it with the pen just to have kind of like a faint texture on the wall in the background. So yeah, but as far as the panels go, I used a 0.8 micron, which is what I always use for the panels, for the panel lines. Everything else that I inked, I pretty much just used the Maru nib, which, if you guys have read Bakuman, they don't talk about it a whole lot. There's a couple characters that use it, but they don't really talk about it. Obviously, the main characters are like, yeah, we got to use a G pen for shonen manga and stuff, which generally a lot of shonen artists do use the G pen because you can get like really thick, kind of crazy lines. You can get the same with a Maru nib, but you have to apply more pressure. But I've got a heavy hand, so if I use a G pen, it's just all over the place. My hand's not very steady either. I just have naturally kind of shaky hands. So that's why I use that nib, and you guys are welcome to use it too. Like I said, I mean, there's a lot of manga artists who use it. One of my favorites is Naoki Urasawa, who did 20th Century Boys, Pluto, Monster, and Yawara, which is one of his earlier ones about a chick who does judo. I actually have the whole set, but whatever. Anyway, he's one of my favorite artists. His facial expressions are amazing. Like he's the king of facial expression. But I really like his art. It takes a more realistic approach, even more so than Takeshi Obata, who did Death Note and Bakuman. His stuff is like super realistic. It's not so stylized as like shonen manga. But I've been working a lot on hair and just different textures and facial expressions and stuff like that. And I feel like I've improved my hair, especially since I was working on Black Hole even. Obviously, if you look at my stuff back from summer, like my stuff's just totally different now. Mark Crilly for the win. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got better, is I just was studying a lot of manga and watching a lot of videos and practicing a lot. So yeah. But I feel like the art's even improved since Black Hole. If you guys have like looked at my previous stuff, my previous drawing videos and stuff, let me know what you think. Because I'm really trying to improve. And so it's kind of nice to have an outsider's perspective, because sometimes it's hard to see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong and all that jazz. So yeah, as far as the manga that I'm working on currently, Imagination Wars, which I talked about in a past video, I said it was going to be done in about a week or two. It's taken longer, which I've kind of haven't been able to draw as much because of work. I've been working a lot, and it's just hard to find the time. But I am steadily working on it. I've got 12 pages done, and the first chapter is probably going to be about 30-something. I'd probably be over halfway done, but because the manga that I'm working on kind of pokes fun at like juvenile anime like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and Beyblade and all that stuff, I had to create like a gimmick, like a game or whatever that the characters play. And or I wanted to. I didn't have to, but I wanted to. And so I had to figure out the game mechanics for what the characters were going to play, because you can't just draw a manga and be like, okay, they're playing this game, and not know how it works, because it won't make sense in the manga. So you have to figure out the game mechanics before you start drawing the battle or whatever. With that being said, like I said, it pokes fun at those manga, but it's also supposed to be like nostalgic, I guess. Like you're supposed to read it and be like, oh yeah, that's I can relate to that. That's funny, because like every manga like that is like, oh, I'm gonna beat you with a child's card game and stuff. And so I was kind of trying to capture that and just kind of poke fun at it. Also, the manga's it doesn't completely revolve around the game. It's really like basically like the lives of kids or whatever, and what they get into and what's important to them. So it's supposed to be kind of nostalgic for people who read it and they look back and they say, yeah, I remember doing that when I was a kid, that one summer or whatever, or I remember doing that with my friends, or if you're still a kid, hey, I like doing that, or whatever. Anyway, that's pretty much the premise of it. So, but I'll let you guys decide for yourself whether or not it's good. I'm hoping it is. It's fun to draw. So, yeah. But back to the page. The thing that took the most time during this drawing video was the shading. It took forever. I should have just used screen tone, or just like straight like markers or something, like the brush pen, but I didn't. I started with the dip pen, so I ended up having to finish it out that way. Otherwise, the picture just would have looked weird. But it took a really long time, especially because I was trying to make it look cylindrical, and I wasn't using a French curve, which if I was, I honestly think it would have taken longer. But it took so long. It took so freaking long. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to stray away from having to shade almost entire pages with a freaking pen, because that's That just takes too long. I should have just used tone. Like, seriously. So yeah, the reason I went for this one is because, which I don't even know if I've talked about this, because I've had to record this twice just because of an issue, but I don't know if I've talked about it or not. Anyway, the reason I chose this concept for the page or whatever is just because, like, there's a lot of times where I'll have dreams, where I'll have vertigo, or I'll feel like I'm falling, or I will be falling, or whatever, and it's like terrifying. Like, just the sensation of falling just terrifies me, or like really big heights where you're just in limbo like that, just floating. I mean, it's different if you're standing on top of a building and you're looking down, or you're on something, but when you're just floating over something or you're falling, that kind of freaks me out. So that's why I picked it. It was the first thing that popped into my head, and I was like, yeah, that's scary. But let me know what you guys think is scary as far as dreams go. Like what scares you in your dreams. Like, this is one of the ones that I find scariest, which I don't have a lot of nightmares, but I thought this one was pretty interesting, I guess. And I'm interested to know what you guys think is scary. So yeah, this took a long time. Like, all the shading. Which, if you guys watched my last how to draw video or whatever, or how to draw a manga page, it took like 4 hours, split up into 4 parts, and it was all in real time. It took forever. So I've improved over that. Like, I did way more shading on this page than I did in that page, and I still was down an hour and a half from the last page I did. So I've improved my time, and it probably would have been even faster if I hadn't done all this stinking shading, but, you know, whatever. But anyway, summer is, like, pretty much here, guys. So I expect everybody to, like, start drawing and stuff. Like, because it's way more fun to, you know, be working on something and know that, you know, everybody else that you watch or is subscribed to you or whatever is drawing too. It, you know, it makes it easier because you've got, like, the competition and stuff, and you wanna finish it. You know, you wanna compete with everybody else. It just makes it easier for me anyway to draw. I expect everybody to be working on something this summer. If you draw something. Do something. So yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about. I mean, it's just a lot of shading, and then and for all the shading, it was just the dip pen, and then it was after the dip pen, I use a brush pen to fill in more black and just kind of get a little more shading in there, because the G pen or the not the G pen, the Maru pen was just taking so long. And I think it turned out pretty good. And I use a bit of screen tone as well, which you'll see. Now, I was originally going to use, like, screen tone on the hair for the dude or whatever, but I ended up just blacking it in because I thought the contrast would be better. So yeah. So you really don't need that much to create, like, manga, guys. Like, seriously, you just need a pencil, like one that you're comfortable using. It doesn't matter what kind of pencil, as long as you like it. A pencil, a pen. It doesn't even have to be a dip pen. You can use, like, Microns or Sharpie or whatever. Or even like a Uniball pen if you wanted to, and just, like, go over the lines to get, like, variation and stuff. It might take a little longer, but, you know, do what you gotta do. You know, you can use anything to draw comics. And I've seen people do crazy stuff with just a ballpoint pen. And the paper I'm using is A4 paper, which is a little thinner and a little longer than just regular printer paper. And the only reason I use it is because it has the guidelines on it. So if I ever decide that I want to print this either through self-publishing, or if you know, any of my works got popular on Ink Blazers and they decided, hey, we'll publish this for you, that's why I use the A4 paper, because it's already got the guidelines. I don't have to draw it in or anything. And you can get all the stuff that I use on Deleter. So, and their prices are pretty good. The screen tones, I think they're like $2 a sheet, and a sheet lasts me like, I don't know, half a dozen pages, just depending on how you use it. But there's also like programs you can use, like Manga Studio and Photoshop and stuff like that, to do screen tones. Personally, I don't like to do things digitally. I take all my pages through Photoshop and clean up like specks and just uneven lines. For the panels, I'll do that just to clean it up. But I really don't like doing things digitally. That's just me. If you like digital work, then it might be way easier for you to do tones on a computer. I personally don't like to do tones on a computer. That's just me. And screen tones, you know, I mean, I obviously have a job and stuff and bills, but I don't feel like it's too bad, like price-wise. I don't feel like $2 is like a lot for screen tone. And a bottle of ink will last a long time. The nibs aren't that expensive. They usually last, I don't know, like 8 pages, 6 or 8 pages, for me anyway. And then they just, I mean, you can tell when they're dead. The lines start sucking really bad. But anyway, yeah, I started putting tone on everything. Put tone on the dude's shirt, and then I'm going to put some tone on basically the base of the tunnel, just to, I don't know, give it a little more depth. And then I put some screen tone behind the character's shoulder. And what you see me doing for so long with the tone is I'm scratching it. And basically when you cut tone, if you just cut it and leave it, I mean, sometimes that works for like hair and stuff. When you just want a solid tone, like for a shadow or whatever it may be, if you want a solid tone, you just cut it and that's it. But when you want something to blend, you end up scratching it. So you take your like screen tone knife or your X-Acto knife, and basically you just take the blade and you scratch away the tone to make it blend in with the rest of the image. And so that's what took so long for that. And like I said, I you know, just blocked in the hair and stuff. So, and I put a little bit of tone on the shirt on the guy in the bed, and then another piece of a tone on the edge of the like bedspread or comforter or whatever. So yeah. But anyway, this is, I mean, it's pretty much done by now. There's really not a whole lot else to say about it. Let me know what you guys think. I spent quite a bit of time on it. So I still want to get faster though, and I want to get better as far as art goes. Like, there's so many things that I want to get better at drawing, and I want to get faster at it too. So, but it takes time. The more you draw, the better you get, the faster you get. So yeah. Anyway, look forward to more videos in the future, guys.